Hi everyone, welcome to this week's video. Today I am doing another episode of responding to ignorance / reacting to ignorance and just general posts that I see online, usually Reddit. This one's another Reddit one, of people not really understanding mental illness or just not handling certain situations surrounding mental illness properly. So today, this is actually a person who has a mental illness themselves, but it's hard to explain. Let me just dive into it and you'll see where I'm coming from with this one. I'm gonna read it off my laptop here. I got a new laptop, by the way. I'm excited. Anyway, it's another one from the Am I the A-hole subreddit. So this person asks, am I the a-hole for hating my friend because she's depressed? Not a reason to hate someone. Right off the bat, that's what I'm gonna say. I don't hate someone because they have diabetes. I always use diabetes. I don't know why. I really have nothing against diabetes, but I always tend to use that one. But same with cancer. I don't see any reason to hate someone for having cancer or any other ailment that there are. Oh, before I forget, I'm gonna pop them up here. So boom, here they are. There's 2 slides and you can pause the video to read them or just wait for me to read them through. Anyway, here we go. I've got ADHD and it's always been a pretty big problem for me. That sucks, it really does. I'm in graduate school now and because of the stress, it's really making everyone on edge and bringing the worst out in people. Okay, first of all, congrats for being in graduate school. I know school is really difficult for people who suffer from ADHD, and I think you deserve a round of applause for getting into graduate school. And yeah, it can really stress a lot of people out. A lot of people turn into jerks when they are stressed. Anyway, people always get mad at me because I can't properly concentrate on tasks at hand, and I always get shouted at by professors because I find myself unable to stay concentrated on the current lecture, even in small room discussions. However, I still maintain a good GPA, and even in quarantine, I always keep my head above water by consistently giving out quality outputs. Okay, people getting mad at you because you can't concentrate is horrible. And professors yelling at you, I'm assuming they know about your ADHD, and them yelling at you and calling you out is horrible, definitely, and should not be happening. And I really hope you talk to someone about that, maybe do schools have HR? I don't even remember, but like something like that, to get something addressed about that, because professors should not be yelling at you. Especially in college. I mean, I really don't think teachers should be necessarily yelling at students who have a hard time concentrating, but that's just me. Yeah, so all around what you've said so far, horrible, shouldn't be happening to you. Agree with that. My friend in the same course is a depressive girl, and everyone treats her very well. Professors know that because she's depressed, they will not shout at her, and her group mates will not reprimand her even though she consistently fails to submit her outputs on time or not at all. I've even known to professors to shift their deadlines to specifically accommodate her. Okay, so this woman with her condition, her mental health disorder, is being accommodated. And for her, that's wonderful. And professors should be doing these kinds of things, should be working within someone's abilities. I don't know the whole story on if she is not doing well and if it's because of her depression or she's just being lazy, because people with depression, they do have a hard time getting things done, lack of energy, but also some people are just lazy, some people are just jerks, whether they have depression or not. So it's hard to say here. But yeah, not shouting at someone because you know they have depression is kind of silly, because if you're going to shout at people in general, you don't know if other people have depression and they haven't told you. So if your rule is not to shout at people with depression, your rule just should be not to shout at people as a professor. But what I'm getting here is you seem like there's a bit of jealousy here, and I get that. Like, it's not fair that she's being accommodated and you're not. But it's not her fault, as far as I know. And hating someone for getting better treatment than you isn't going to get yourself better treatment. Okay, let's keep going. Regardless, her exam grades in quarantine, despite the fact that we have an open note essay type exams, remain low. So low that in our group chat now, we're even banned from discussing grades for fear of triggering her. Okay, I don't know if this is something she has asked for or if it's something everyone has assumed is going to trigger her. I don't really like this whole having to treat someone with depression like they're a fragile little person who, God forbid, you upset. So I find this a little extreme, unless it is something she has asked because she's expressed that this is triggering for her. And if that's the case, it's great that people are accommodating her. My cat just made a noise. Anyway, but yeah, I do find that to be just a bit extreme. But again, I don't know the extent of her depression. I don't know if you do either, but people are trying to accommodate her. And again, that's great. Like, people should accommodate people with a mental illness. It's reached a point now where I am no longer just hating her on the inside, but now I'm openly hostile towards her because of my perceived double standard in terms of mental illness. I've snapped at her multiple times on Zoom meetings and in the group chat, causing most everyone to get very angry at me. And then she put TLDR, which means too long didn't read. So sometimes when there's a long post, people on Reddit will post a TLDR, which is just a quick summary. I've got ADHD while my friend has depression. Everyone gives me a very hard time while everyone else treats her like an angel, which caused me to snap at her more than once. Am I the a-hole? Okay. Yes and no. So this one's a bit less of a, you're just an compared to my other ones. Most of them are just like, I'm just reading it like, you suck, basically. You just suck. In this case, I don't think you suck. I think you are struggling with an issue of jealousy and being treated unfairly, and you have every right to be mad about this because people should not be treating you poorly, period. It has nothing to do with her. It has nothing to do with how they're treating her. They should not be treating you poorly. End of discussion. They're treating her well, and it's good. It's good they're treating her well. They might be treating her a little too delicately, if that makes sense. Like, it's hard because, and I'm just speculating, and I'm gonna make a point of saying that, like, it's hard for me to say how extreme her depression is. If she's asked for these accommodations, if she's asked for them, that's wonderful because people are listening to her and respecting her wishes and her accommodations. If she hasn't asked for this and people are just treating her like she's gonna explode any second, it's a little ridiculous because I don't want people tiptoeing around me on subjects that aren't actually bothering me for fear of triggering me. I don't want people being afraid of triggering me when they're not going to. I want people to respect when I say this is gonna trigger me, this upsets me, I don't want to talk about this. I want people to respect that, but people just tiptoeing around me and avoiding topics that I never said were a problem is a little intense. So, I don't think you're necessarily an asshole for snapping at her because it's pent-up anger. But you are kind of an a-hole for directing it at her because it's not her fault that other people are treating you poorly. It's not her fault that people are treating her well. It is everyone else's fault, and I think you just need to take this up with someone at the school and say, I don't feel like my mental illness, my mental disorder, my ADHD is being taken seriously enough, and I feel I'm being treated poorly because of it. It is not something I can help, and I don't feel that I should be penalized or shouted at or demeaned in any way because of my ADHD. It's not fair. It's not this girl's fault though. So just try and keep that in mind. And it's the same It's this thing that we see around all the time. People will say, you know, you see those signs or those memes everywhere that say, oh, why do drug addicts get their medications for free, but I have to pay this much for my medication? And it's like, let's not think about the drug addicts getting their help for free. It's great they're getting their help. How about just focus on, why is my medication costing this much? And just try and fix that. Don't worry about the other people who are, you know, doing better. The people who are being treated fairly are not the enemy. The people who are treating you unfairly are. And yeah, that's just my rant for today. This was a shorter-ish video. I think most of my responding to ignorance ones are, which is good because... Is she sleeping yet? No. No, she is not. So anyway, I had to do a very quick filming today. This isn't the video I was planning on filming, but c'est la vie. Anyway, guys, I will see you next week in the next video. I think next week will be my Halloween craft. I'm hoping it goes so much better than my Thanksgiving craft. If you have not watched those, yeah, those, I had to split it. I had to split it into 2 videos because it turned out to be really long because I struggled so bad. If you haven't watched those, it's gonna be, I can never remember what side I have to point at, but it's gonna be up here somewhere. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye. Holes when they're stressed. I swore.